Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. Today I want to talk about the massive institutional adoption that is entering the space, the Bitcoin space, and can't be ignored. So let's talk about this and let's talk about everything else that's going on in the world today. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The market bell has just rung, and today Bitcoin is right back above 27,000. That is fantastic. The US market, though, is not looking as bright right now. Everything is in the red. I did tell you guys that ahead of the FOMC meeting, this always occurs every single time. You do get some volatility, and that's what we're seeing right now. But Bitcoin is unaffected. Bitcoin is up, so that is fantastic. What can we expect, though, from the FOMC meeting tomorrow? Well, I'll talk about it some more tomorrow before it happens. But most likely nothing. Nothing. The Fed is going to hold the Fed fund rate, and hopefully Powell has some language that indicates no more, that we won't get another rate hike in November because it's not needed. And then that's it. After November, that's pretty much it. There's absolutely zero reason for Fed Chair Powell to raise rates anymore. Okay, so hopefully we had our very last one, right? And that's it, and no more. But up until then, markets, Wall Street will still be a little cautious, let's say, about what may be coming up. So there's that. And today, let's see, I saw a couple other things. This is kind of crazy. Those of you guys that cook or you don't cook and you just buy out, olive oil prices have surged 100%, over 100%. Now, olive oil is so expensive, there's thefts of olive oil. Imagine you see people just trying to sneak one into their purse. That's kind of wild. So why are food prices going up? Well, because of various reasons. And if the oil needed to cook goes up by over 100%, yeah, I would say prices of foods would go up along with that. So that's just kind of insane. That is kind of insane. It is very expensive to eat out these days. Very expensive. And then I saw this. It has nothing to do with anything, but this is kind of concerning. Elon Musk says X is moving to a monthly subscription fee. Basically, screw the blue check mark. Elon wants every single user to be paying to be able to use X. That means you can't reply. I don't know if it means you can't read tweets anymore, but that's kind of insane. I don't know. That just seems like it's not the right move. But he does say that Twitter has 550 million users, so he's trying to monetize it. How many of those users are actually users versus bots? Because there are so many bot replies on Twitter. There are so many accounts on Twitter that has like 20,000, 30,000 followers, yet there's zero engagement other than from bots. So how many of that is really users? We don't know. But that seems kind of crazy too. That in the future, every single person needs to subscribe to use the platform. Hopefully it's not that much. Hopefully it's not that much. All right. Now, let's move on to some Bitcoin news. Why is Bitcoin going up? Well, maybe because of this. This is a beautiful, beautiful chart, graphic, infographic, whatever you call this. This is beautiful, right? And it really lays out the institutions that are all jumping in. And these guys are all, they're all with a T, you know? They're not even with a B. B's too small for these cats. It's T with trillions. BlackRock, 9.1 leading the way. You got Vanguard. Most argue that BlackRock and Vanguard, and I think you put State Street in there. I've heard this. Between the three, they basically own the world. But then, you know, there's still others like Fidelity that's up there too. But you take those four, BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, and State Street, You put them together, you're talking about 20 trillion in assets. That's a lot of assets, okay? And every single one, except State Street, I haven't heard them, but they may be jumping in soon. BlackRock and Vanguard own some of the biggest Bitcoin mining companies already, okay? And BlackRock, we know, kicked off this Bitcoin spot ETF enthusiasm, and they're the largest asset manager there is. And every single one. Fidelity's huge too. And we know of others like JP Morgan, even though their Jamie Dimon keeps bashing Bitcoin, yet they continue to push forward with their own crypto initiatives, and they push crypto upon their wealthy clients, right? And same thing with everyone else in this space, and you see in here, they're either jumping head in or they already offer services for their wealthy clients, right? Either custodian service or trading service or, I don't know, financial advisory, right? Just think about how much money there is. It just shows you how big the space is. And this is what, just like 15 of the largest? And if they just put a small fraction, just a small fraction of what they have or what their clients have into Bitcoin, which is only at 529 billion, imagine where Bitcoin and the whole space will be, right? Way, way, way higher than now. It's just mind-boggling to think about, okay? How much money there is everywhere else, and just a small fraction of that, okay, just a small little piece of the trillions that exist out there, if it comes into the space, it's going to change things. It's going to change things in a big, big way, okay? Here, Arca CIO says BlackRock Bitcoin ETF will bring new money into the space. Of course, that's what I've been saying. You got some of the largest fund managers trying to come up with a spot Bitcoin ETF. They all will have to buy physical Bitcoin, hold physical Bitcoin in order to offer their ETFs, right? So where's this top? Everyone's predicting. If you look at the previous cycles, right, Bitcoin, basically it's a multiplier of 10. Bitcoin started like $1, went to $10. Then at $10 went up to 100. 100 went to 1,000. 1,000 went to 10,000, right? Does that mean this is the cycle where Bitcoin gets pushed from 10,000 to 100,000? I would say yes. And I think 100,000 is really just the beginning. You got just a small fraction, would be 300 billion coming into the space, but it's way more than that. It's going to be way more than that. So it's just really quite exciting to think about. And you can't ignore the amount of money out there. So here's a good comparison. Look at what happened with gold. You know, you still have some gold bugs out there. You still have some people that hold on gold. And gold has been doing, I guess, decently well recently, right? Hovering around $2,000 something per ounce, right? But look at what happened after a spot ETF. Gold just kind of went upwards and it just never stopped until now, right? So can the same thing happen with Bitcoin? After a spot ETF, we will get an insane run upwards because of the massive amount of money coming in. Sure, it could happen. And we know, those of you guys that are watching me, you know, Bitcoin is better in so many ways. So who knows how much more will be coming in once people truly realize what Bitcoin is all about. The most decentralized network that we have today that can't be shut down by any government or entity, and the greatest store of value we have today, annualized growth of 145% year to year. And you go back 5-10 years, nothing have come close to the performance of Bitcoin. Nothing. We're talking about 8 million% since its inception. It might not even be since its beginning, inception. It may be like 2011. But this is why you have the greatest store of value, okay, which arguably is the greatest hedge against inflation. And you have the most powerful, secure, decentralized network on the planet. You combine into, what is that worth? Infinite amount, if you think about it. All right. What else is there? Well, chartists are looking at short-term patterns, and here's an interesting one. Bump and run reversal pattern, right? And if you look at the top and then the bottom, it looks very similar. And why do we have patterns like this? These are all like patterns meant to manipulate and drive out users. That's what it is. Just like the Wyckoff accumulation pattern. They're all what the big boys do. They basically scare the little fish retail investors away so they can keep on accumulating, right? This is one of them. So this is why I've been telling you guys to stay strong and stay focused on the future, because no matter what happens short term, and there's many manipulation patterns like this throughout Bitcoin's history. It happens every 4-year cycle, and it happens all the time, right? But just know that, yeah, you are holding on to the great asset that we have, and we'll continue forward and upwards because Bitcoin is driven by code and does not care, does not feel emotions, does not adjust based on market sentiment. It continues to move forward, and the miners don't care either. They just continue to mine, and the network keeps on getting stronger. Look at that. Look at the hash rate just keep on going upwards. All-time high, right? Just like the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Just like the addresses, just like the number of holders, they all keep on going up. So Bitcoin does not care about manipulation, does not care about global factors or macro plays. Bitcoin is Bitcoin and will continue to go upwards, quite simply because there is more demand than supply, and that will always be, and supply will keep going down more and more with each halving event. Now, as we get closer to the next one in 2024, you could see, well, we have seen periods like this before. We have seen some scary times. We have seen some accumulation times. We have seen some retests, right? Just like if you look at what we're going through now, it looks very similar to the 2014 to 2016 period. And what happened after 2016? Well, that was when Bitcoin went up to 20,000 for the first time from a low of $160. So this time around, we had a low about 15,000. Where will we head? 100,000, 150, 200, 250, 300,000 with the amount of money that those institutional clients hold? You know, who knows? Who knows where Bitcoin is going to head? But this is definitely a time not to be fearful. More of a time to be greedy, if you ask me. All right, so that's what I want to lead off with. What else? Well, of course, there's other news. Hong Kong looks to release stablecoin regulations by mid-2024. Hong Kong, along with many other nations, I should say. Well, yeah, other nations, other cities, fully looking to embrace crypto overall, right? Hong Kong just opened up crypto trading to its citizens. A lot of exchanges are trying to onboard, right? They are going full steam ahead, and that's fantastic. And as this bull run comes, and after the halving event, when things get very explosive once again, it's going to be more explosive because the amount of ways to get into crypto is way more than before. Way more. Way more than any other cycle that we have ever seen, right? Also fantastic. You still have a lot of money coming in. There's a crypto VC firm just secured $500 million for investments. That's awesome. Of course, that's awesome. Again, showing how much money is flowing into space. If you could raise $580 million right now while things are still low and kind of fuddish, imagine what these firms can raise once we're in peak of 2025, right? That's when the money will be in the billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions. And then I saw this Optimism is going to drop a third round of tokens for its users. This is what Optimism does, rewards its users based on usage. So if you are a big OP user, you may be getting some free tokens soon, right? I don't know the overall percentage based on how much was given out already. It's probably not as much as the first few. But hey, who doesn't like free tokens, right? So that's also coming up. And then lastly, more FTX news. The new FTX company is suing the parents of SBF because they think SBF transferred them millions upon millions of dollars that they have not returned. And it's a lot. So look at this. 18.9 million inclusive of taxes, fees, and costs for Blue Water, to which Bankman and Fried received title, as well as various expenses related to Blue Water, totaling more than $90,000. So Blue Water is some company that I guess the parents owned, or he created for them. I don't know, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So. All right, that's pretty much it overall. Let's see, today, still kind of reddish. Okay, I don't expect much to happen between now and tomorrow. We'll see what the Fed says. We'll see if Powell changes his mind at all. But as of right now, Bitcoin is still above 27,000. The entire market cap back up to 107, mostly green today. So that's great. That's great. All right, let's do some Q&A. Good morning from Israel. Alice, good morning. On a side note, I got this F-35 for sale. I saw that story. Some 80 million F-35. The pilot ejected, and they had no idea where the plane went until I think yesterday I saw it crash in somewhere. That's kind of funny. They should just autopilot it back to the base. 100K is a lot more reasonable than 1 million or 10 million. Well, those will come. Those numbers will come. But in later cycles, later peaks, when basically there's no more Bitcoin. But first things first, we got to hit 100,000. When taking profits, would you convert to USDC or just sell straight to USD? It's the same. Whatever your preference is. If you want to keep in crypto so you could continue to DCA, great. If you want to sell straight to USD to cash out, that's fine. If you don't want to cash out, you can still keep it USD. It really makes no difference. SJ, I'm not quite sure what your super chat means, but okay. The Fed will raise by 25 basis points, not this time around. It was a 99% chance. Yeah, it still is. Basically, when you have a 99% chance, it's not going to deviate from this. And the data doesn't show. The data doesn't support any more rate hike, at least this time around, even in November 1. Unless something drastically happens, like olive oil prices go up 1,000% or 10,000%, I think we should be fine. But if we do see inflation tick up even more so between now and November, maybe. Can you talk about Blue Zell? No, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with them anymore. I stopped DCAing into Gala. Are there any other good projects like them? Very little. They're the giant, and everyone else is just like really far away from them. I'd say Vulcan is probably number two. So take a look at Vulcan, who is also part of the next crypto gem. But outside of them, everyone else, all the gaming platforms, they're really, really far away. It's unfortunate because Gala still has good games. A lot of people played those games. But what's happening with the founders, it's a shame. It's driving people away. When are you go switch from DCA in to DCA out? Well, you take profits whenever you want. When you need to use the money, then you could DCA out. That's really what it comes down to. If you don't need the money, then you don't ever need to DCA out. I do state that everyone should have 20, 25, 30% cash, but that cash could be in crypto. It could be in USDC or USDT. Doesn't mean that you actually has to physically take it out, but just make sure you have that cash pile on the side so you could continue DCA no matter what. And there will always be up and downs. Even after this next top, and we'll have another bottom too, there will always be buying opportunities. But you never really need to cash out until you need it. Like you want to buy a house or pay off debt, pay off a car or buy a car or whatever, buy a yacht, right? That's when you need to cash out. Otherwise, you don't ever really need to. Would you recommend holding Aave, Compound, or Maker? There's nothing actually wrong with any of those. They're all DeFi plays. They're very slow moving though. They're very slow moving, but they're the biggest DeFi dApps that we have. Ryan, I don't quite get your question. I was asking about Kathy Wood and ARK, and still am good, sir. Well, what do you think? What are you asking about them? They're still big Bitcoin bulls, so I don't know what you want me to say about them. How do you combat whale games and FUD besides DCA? That's it. You just ignore them and you keep DCAing. There's nothing else to it. Do you think the sale of FTX crypto will tank the market? I don't know. That's actually an interesting one, but The market tends to be very good at pricing things in, even with Bitcoin and crypto. So I think it's already priced in because people already know there's this much that will be sold. So I'm going to say no because it's priced in already. Best wallet to use besides Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet is better than Coinbase Wallet. So, yeah. This is not a good comparison. What comparison? Do you know about Orchid? Yes. The decentralized VPN. They might be going to Cypherpunk too. I know two of the main people. They went to high school with me. So, actually I know the CIO quite well, or CTO quite well. If institutions and whales are accumulating billions leading out of spot Bitcoin ETF, who's selling to them? Good question. You. Retail investors. That's who. Retail investors are selling. And plus, the exchanges are too. Exchanges are in the business of making money. Especially like Coinbase and Gemini. They do a ton of OTC sales. They hold a lot of Bitcoin. They got them way early. So, retail investors, when they get panicked, they sell. And also exchanges do too. Gold ETF was great for price because no one could buy gold back then. A gold ETF won't be the same. A Bitcoin ETF won't be the same because anyone could buy and hold BTC from home today. I'm going to argue that that's false. You could buy gold from stores. You could buy a lot of gold from everywhere. Not as digital as Bitcoin, obviously. Not as easy. But anyone could buy gold at any given time. Right? A lot of big institutions, a lot of big companies will never buy Bitcoin because why would they? They don't want to worry about securing it. Now you have to worry about hacks and you have to pay a custodian to hold it. So there will be many that will just want something easy, like a spot ETF, like an ETF. That's it. So this will definitely make a huge difference. Not everyone is going to be like MicroStrategy where, yeah, we're going to buy $4 billion or $5 billion worth of Bitcoin and let's try to secure it. No, most companies will not do that. In fact, if I had $5 billion worth of Bitcoin, you know, it would scare the bejesus out of me. It really would. I don't think people realize how scary it is to hold that much money, right, in your possession. I think most people want a safety blanket. Most people want to know that someone bigger than they are will help them secure their money, right? But one day when you realize that your ledger is holding 10 million, 50 million, $100 million worth of Bitcoin and crypto, you will feel differently. Yeah, it's kind of a scary thought if you think about it. Tesla's down today. Nvidia's down. Where's Coinbase? Coinbase taking a beating today. Not sure why. Coinbase had a pretty good week last week, and then it just took a dump today. Why are you not talking about projects that are moving the bear market? Because there are no projects moving the bear market. Besides Ton, which I don't trust. There's something really fishy about that movement. So everything else is pretty much down still. That's okay though. It gives us more opportunity to buy in DCA. Dollar cost average down, right? That's the way you do it. You buy low and you sell high. Would you agree we're at the tail end of a double dip recession? When did the second dip come? I don't know if I agree with that. I think we've been in recession. We hit a low point. We kind of recovered a little bit. And we softened a little bit. But we didn't double dip back to our previous low. So I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, we came down a little bit for sure. But we didn't double dip back to previous levels. Shipping manifests are on XDC network now. Good for XDC. They're on Morpheus network too. And on VeChain. There's a lot of supply chain. A lot of supply chain chains out there. Is it a good idea to not sell Bitcoin at top and hold for long term? It really depends on your goal. For me, I will try to hold as much Bitcoin, accumulate as much Bitcoin forever, basically. I will only sell off what I need to if I need to pay for things. But otherwise, I have everything in crypto. And I will try to accumulate as many Bitcoins as I can. Because I really think that's the game. That's the end game, so to speak, just to see who can accumulate more Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin will continue to get more and more scarce, more and more demand. Institutions and people will come in. And it's the only asset that you could say that behaves like that. There's nothing else that has a set supply, nothing else that gets its inflation cut by half every 4 years. And none that is widely acceptable as Bitcoin and embraced as much. Realistically, can Bitcoin hit 100K by the end of the year? No. No. Not realistic by the end of this year. Next year, for sure. But this year, no. All right, guys. That's it. Overall, we'll see what happens tomorrow with the Fed. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. But like I've said before at these FOMC meetings, there tends to be volatility. Sometimes it's stale, but sometimes there's a lot of volatility. So I think people are trying to adjust what's going to be said tomorrow. But what doesn't change is this. You got the biggest institutions out there. They're all trying to enter or are already in the space, right? How high will they drive Bitcoin in this coming cycle? Your guess is as good as mine, but I say 100,000 is just the beginning. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.